Cool. Hi everyone! Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Hi. My name is Kuri, and today we're not playing a game. Until later. Right now, we're gonna be doing a tutorial video. It won't be like the other tutorials in that, I will be going super slow. And I may or may not get off topic. And also, this is a free Q&A for anything VTuber and Unity creation related. We'll try to go over everything step by step, from beginning to editing toggles and stuff like that. But the most important thing we're going over today is downloading the programs you need, the plugins, and also just getting started. A lot of tutorials you see online are a little bit hard because they don't really tell you what each thing does exactly. They kind of assume that you have a background already. So we're gonna try to go basic mode on everything. Hi! How are you doing today? And yeah, Q&A. If you have any questions about anything we're going over, or similar questions about the VTuber 3D creation editing process, this is the stream to ask. I'll try my best. I don't know everything. I'll be the first to admit that, but I'll try to answer. Hi, Streamline. Yeah, so we're just gonna be listening to some nice lo-fi. We're gonna start editing, and yeah, let's get started. Let's go to this. Yeah, why not? Sure. If you have any questions that you just want to ask in general, go ahead. As long as they're not like lewd questions, I guess. You know, normal questions about editing. Okay. Alright. Let's get the music on. I got some nice music from Luna. She gave me some like nice lo-fi music, so I'm gonna listen to that. It's kicking in. Yeah, I'm gonna make myself much smaller this stream, so you guys can see. I'll be a tiny kuri. Okay, obviously, to get started, you do need Unity. Music's a little loud. Let's turn it down. Wait, why isn't that going to there? Hold on a second. Of course, Korea. If you adjust sound settings. You know, I'm just gonna open up. I'm gonna open up Chrome window. I don't care. Can I adjust the volume now? Yes. Cool. There we go. Much better. Hello. Hi. Okay. So Unity. When you're creating stuff for 3D avatars for say VC Face, you're gonna be going to be using a format known as VRM, and the main GitHub for VRM is right here. However, there's many versions to be had for the VRM. If you click on releases, come on, load. You notice that there is like version 0.112. There's like basically a billion versions. You don't want to pick one version randomly. You want to use the correct one. And if you go to the main VC Face website, it tells you right here. When exporting, error appears, blah, 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 blah. The error occurs using certain versions of VRM. Currently, only Unity VRM 0.89 is supported. So this is the one we want. So make sure to download this one. If you click on it, it'll take you to this GitHub page where you can download right here. Uni VRM 0.89.0. That's the one you want to use, and you want to save it somewhere safe. The next one, of course, is the Unity program itself. And if you go to the main website, you say, where is it? Get started on Unity Personal. You don't want to just download any version. You want to download a version that works with it. And if you go to right here, for this version of the VRM, you need Unity 2019.4 LTS. LTS stands for long-term support, and that means it's a version that has support for long-term. It's self-explanatory. But yeah, if you go over here, it says choose your Unity version. Click down on archive. You see right here, long-term support. Click right there. And then under the all, you go to 2019.4. And then you go even further. There's many versions. A lot of plugins I see seem to support 2019.4.35 F1. So why not download that one? Click this and then download it. You also might want to download Unity Hub in general, so you can have it listed and you can choose the versions that you want if you use this for anything else. So download Unity Hub from the main website and download this version right here. And the last thing you need is if you go to the main VC Face website, under downloads, search for SDK. There we go. So under VSF Avatar, STK download 1.13.38C. So what this is, it's a new export format that we'll get into later. And this allows you to have many additional features that you can't find with the regular .vrm format. And I'll go into the pros and cons for each one and exactly what that actually means later on when we export, okay? But right now, you should have 3 files. The UniVRM, VSF Avatar SDK, and the Unity install. And make sure to install it, and then we'll get to the next part. In the meantime, we do need a sample model to work from. So let's go ahead and open up, say, Vroid Studios. 1.2, let's just use the newest one. A lot of people start up with Vroid because it is free. And there's many, many, many things you can do with it. Let's go ahead and just create a new one. Amen. We're gonna wait a little bit for it to load. Alright. Actually, no. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just use the sample one. Let's pick from the default samples that they have. There we go. So this is one of the samples that you can get. Has outfits and stuff already made. We're just gonna add a little bit to it so we can edit a little bit more later on. So she has an outer jacket. That's good. Let's add some accessories. Cat ears. Because why not? If we have time, we're gonna learn to make those wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Alright, cool. Now, when you're using Vroid Studio, all the files you save inside here is called a .vroid format. The extension, you'll be like, say, VTuber, your name, and then .vroid. When you export this, export as VRM right here, it turns that file into a .vrm. Now, this is very important. A lot of people don't realize this. But once you export to VRM, you can no longer go back to Vroid Studios with that file, okay? So whatever edits you want to do here, any clothes you want to add in the first place for your base model, before editing, make sure you get it right inside this program. Because you cannot bring back whatever you did in Unity back inside here, okay? Otherwise, if you did a bunch of stuff and you realize, oh, I want to change her hairstyle so that this hair goes out a little bit more, you can't do that. you gotta either make an entirely new hair model, or you go back, edit, and you have to export as VRM and redo everything again. Tutorial time? Yes, this is tutorial time. Do these models also need to be rigged, or is that already done? When you make a model inside Vivor Studios, it's already rigged. All the bones are already there. So you don't need to do anything in terms of the bones. Let's see if you can see here. Poses and animations. As you see, all the bones are functioning. Hair physics is already there. Yeah. So if you use Vivor Studios, everything is already done for you. All you have to do is select your clothes, select your hair, your skin, download everything from Booth, and just put it on. The editing you're gonna do inside Unity is mostly for effects, the texturing, props, toggles, that kind of stuff. So for example, my kitty, you'll be editing this stuff. And this is the stuff you would add inside Unity. Alright, so I'm not going to go over how to make a model inside Vivor Studio because it's pretty self-explanatory. If you played any game with a character creation, this is basically it. They really improved it from the first few versions. The first few versions were very limited. Now it's like anything you want to do, boom. I just click on that outfit, it's gonna load. Boom. Oops, Matsu. It's gonna be done. No? Alright, export. Now when you're exporting, there's a few important options that you need to note of. Right here where it says reduce polygon, unselect this. This is a lot of people, when they send me their model for commission to add stuff or subtract stuff or to edit, they export it wrong because of these options right here. When you select these optimization options, you're basically combining all the polygons and cramming them into a format that is really optimized, but at the same time, they are really, really hard to edit. Imagine a bunch of rubber bands, right? If you want to take out and replace a rubber band, you can do that easily. But the moment you check one of these, you're basically cramming them together, tying them together, making them into a rubber band ball. It's very compact, it's easy to carry around, but if you want to take one out, yeah, good luck with that. So make sure to not have these on. Reduce materials, don't have those. Default, quality original. Reduce bones, don't have anything. We're gonna be optimizing the textures inside Unity. So just leave everything as it is, because we will be not using this to V2, we'll be using this to edit. And if you go to any digital art school, they'll tell you a thing. It's called garbage in, garbage out. So if you input something that is very low polygon, very low resolution, reduced quality, whatever export you get out of that will also be that one or lower. So be very careful about selecting any of these. So let's go ahead and export and save it somewhere. Alright, we'll have these settings here. Don't choose the 1.0 for now. That's a new version that we can't really edit inside the Unity versions we have right now. Because remember, we're still working with the point zeros. Alright, give me a second. Edit this. Just fill out whatever information you need to do. We'll just name it sample. Sample. And I'm gonna save this somewhere as a file. I'll save it in the tutorial folder. Okay. And it's gonna take a moment to save. Oops. Alright. Alright, it's done saving, so we're gonna exit this. Don't save. Now we're gonna open up Unity Hub. So when you first open Unity, you have this little thing here. Ignore all this. We're gonna go for a new project. Now, you see up here, editor version. You wanna make sure you use the version that you downloaded from the website. Namely, this one right here. 2019.4.35 F1. There we go. Make sure this is highlighted. And other people might be using a different version, or they might be using something else to edit for other projects, but we're going to be using this one for the tutorial. Go ahead and name it. We're going to name this one as, I don't know, Kuri sample. Okay. And you can choose where to save it. I would recommend somewhere with a lot of space. And you can leave this on 3D, it's fine. Create project. And it's gonna take a while. Oh, where's my soda? I'm thirsty. Alright, time to shrink Kuri again. If you have a slower computer, this may take a while. Mine's just getting there, and I also have a lot of projects, so... Soda. Okay. Now, you are greeted with this screen right here. Don't panic. It's okay. There's a lot of panels, but we're gonna go over what each panel is, what to do, and how to import files. Now, when you have this project open like this, the first thing you want to do for editing is to go to where you downloaded the Unity VRM file and double click on it. If you have your Unity open, it's gonna try to import that package, right? Now, it's gonna import a whole bunch of folders and files. Don't worry about it, don't even read it, it's fine. Just make sure everything is checked. The only thing you may wanna like not check is this samples folder. It's just a safe space, you don't really need them. It's a samples, you know. I'm gonna check it because I want to save space. But you don't have to. Just click import. And this will allow Unity to read and understand the VRM files, aka the file that you just exported from Visual Studios. Without it, Unity be like, what the hell is this file, you know? Like, they need to be able to understand. So this is sort of like a plugin that lets Unity understand what VRMs are and displayed inside the 3D viewport right here. When you finish importing, it's gonna have the message here. It says recommended settings, color space equals gamma, use recommended linear. Go ahead and click use the recommended so that everything can be displayed properly. It's gonna change everything for you here. And it says thank you. How nice. But yeah, don't worry about this. Just do what they say. It's fine. Everything is fine. This is fine. And then the next thing you want to do is do the same thing for the VSF SDK, the one that we downloaded from this website, the VC Face website. Now, what this one does, it lets us put a lot of components onto the VRM model. So without this SDK here, this plugin for VC Face avatar format, you won't be able to change the shading of your avatar to different things besides the default. You won't be able to do animations, so you know, if you want to do this, you can't assign that inside Unity. You gotta use a different program. You know, sound effects, lasers, etc. All of this would be impossible if you do not have this. So it's a good idea to import it. Again, just import everything. You also do not need the samples if you don't want to. I'm gonna go ahead and uncheck the samples, but you can leave them on. Import. Wait a few seconds for everything to unfreeze, and when you can kind of click around. Yep. There we go. We got the basic setup. If you want, you can save this right now as a project and copy the folder. This is where everything would begin, so you can just kind of have this as a template. Now, what is what and where's where? Under this panel right here, this project, this is where all your files are for the project. If you were to right click on any of these and say show and explore, it will have the same files and folders right here displayed as in here. So you can think of this as just basically Windows. This is your Windows for your project. If you don't like how it's very small and tiny listed here, you see this little slider? Am I blocking? No, I'm not. If you slide this to the right, it'll make them into actual folders. Feel free to kind of move this in and out so you can find stuff more easily, and you can also type in search, just like how you type in a search bar. So let's say VRM, enter. It will show you everything that has VRM inside the name. Push X to cancel all that. Alright. So, a lot of people on the root folder, this is basically, think of it as your C drive, would like to create a folder called Avatar to keep things organized. So, right click, create folder. We shall name this one Avatar. And go ahead and open up the Avatar folder. You notice that under Assets now we have a folder called Avatar. I would go for a step further. I would right click and create one more. And we're gonna name it 01-v Freud import. Enter. So whenever I edit a big project, I have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Every major step, I export and re-import it so that I have like a checkpoint. So if I ever mess something up, I can go back to the previous point and edit from there. Or, you know, worse, if the whole program crashes, I can have a backup just in case. Alright, so go ahead and go into the VRoid import folder. Now, where you save the sample VRM, the thing that you exported from VRoid Studios, or if you have your own model, you can just simply do that as well. Drag it into the empty folder. This will take a little bit. It's going to import a whole bunch of files. It's basically going to take your VRM folder and rip it apart. It's going to have the 3D part, the textures, the materials, you know, the expressions. It's going to put them all into each individual folders for you. Like so. If you look at it, you have a folder called blend shapes. This is the expressions that your avatar has. Remember these terms, blend shapes. So for example, if I change this is the excited or happy blend shape. This is the angry one. You know, this is the shock. These are all blend shapes you can trigger, and they're all listed under this folder right here. And we'll be getting to how to edit that one after this. Make it so small again. Materials. Let's look at texture first, actually. Textures. If you open up your texture folder, you notice this is where all of your textures are flat. A texture is basically, think of a picture, right? A flat picture that you wrap around a 3D model to make it have the colors and shapes that you want on the model. So imagine an orange, right? Without the texture, it's just a gray sphere. But the moment you put the, let's say, this face on, oh god, it's kind of freaky. It will become a orange with like a little mask on it, kind of thing. And what materials are, it takes, let me make myself smaller. It takes the texture as an input, and it tells the 3D program how light is going to hit the textures, how it's going to have the reflections, the shadows, basically how light would be interpreted on the texture. So a texture by itself does nothing, but a material applies light to it, and it makes everything visible on the model. So for example, if I want everything to be red, I can select the color right here, make it red or blue. If I want the shadows to be dark, I can do it like this. As you see, super dark shadows. So materials is how you would transfer the textures onto the 3D model. Alright, where's the music? Was the music over already? No. Let's listen to Animal Crossing. Oh, no Animal Crossing, let's listen to this. Alright, that's a lot of talking. Let's go to your actual model. When you finish importing your model, there will be this little thing right here. It shows your model in the preview, or if you have the other view, it's gonna be a blue cube with your model name on it. And when you click on it, it'll show example right here. If it doesn't show the example, it might be hidden. All you have to do is click this bar right here to show it. There we go. This is the model that you exported from VRoid Studios. And in order to get it into this 3D area where you can preview your edits, you want to put it in a section called the hierarchy. The hierarchy is everything that you're working on is your workspace, right? So if you drag this into the workspace, you can see this is where your model would be represented. If it's not here, you cannot edit it. Think of it as like your tabletop on inside a workshop, you know. Everything is in your backpack right here, but you can't work on it until you put it on the table. Just think of it like that. And if it's too zoomed out, by the way, like this, if you double left click on the part that you want, it will zoom in. Very, very helpful. Left click also highlights whatever it is. Right click, if you hold it, pans a little bit. Middle mouse button, if you hold it, shifts everything over. And then mouse wheel zooms. Very helpful in navigating. Pretty soon, as you get used to it, it'll be like second nature. You can also click this little gizmo here to go into isometric view and rotate this way. There we go. Let's see, checklist. Right. Hierarchy. So you notice here, this is the sample avatar. If you expand it by clicking the little arrow to the left of it, it's gonna have the face, the body, the root, which is basically, you can think of it as the individual bones, the hair model, and then secondary. And we'll be going over what each one is. So the face, body, and hair, when you select it and you try to move it, you can't. What it is basically, this is just the 3D mesh of it, right? In order to move everything and anything inside the view, you have to move the bones. So if you say select the hips now, you can move it around. So just remember that when you select something inside the viewport, you're most likely not selecting the bones. You can't do anything of it. You're just selecting the stuff that wraps around the bone. So be very careful on what you select. And whenever you select anything, on the right hand side here, it will tell you information about that object. So if we select the body, it would say right here the name, body. It'll tell you what textures it's using. So for example, if you click on this, it would highlight exactly what textures and materials it's using. You know, the stuff that makes up whatever you're highlighting. And it'll also show you a preview of the textures and materials inside the information panel here. So very useful. So if you ever say, oh, I want to change the color of the jacket, boom, click on it. Boom, go to where the jacket is and say, I want red. Boom, there, red. Easy. Checklist. Hierarchy, textures, materials. Okay. So let's say you want to add a prop to your avatar now. Let me see if I can find a free prop we can use. Whoops. Give me a second. free. I'm going on booth.com right now. They have a lot of free assets that you can use for your models of credit, usually. You can look at their the terms of use for each item. Alright, cool. Let me log in and then I'll download this cute little shark. You do need a Pixby account though if you go to booth.pm. Here's some accessory. Alright, we are importing a model. There we go. Sometimes the model would have a little purple thing. Don't worry about it. If it is purple, go to the materials, go to the material. Hidden internal error shader. Go ahead and switch it up to VRM, MTune. Boom. Now, this should be fixed. So drag it into your hierarchy. There it is. Yeah. So let's say you want to have a shark as a prop, right? You drag into your hierarchy, and then you're like, okay, cool. I move it over here. I put it on top of the head. Easy, done. You hit export, and then when you're in VC phase, it's like, oh no, I'm moving, but the shark stays in place. That's because you did not put the shark attached to any bones. Remember, we can't move anything unless we move the bones. So in this case, we're gonna expand your sample model. You're gonna right click, unpack prefab completely. If you don't, you cannot move anything out of place. So right click, unpack prefab completely. Unpack prefab completely. And you want to go to root, which is the base of your model. Hips. And then think of it as like a skeleton. So you get hips, you get your spine. From the spine, it attaches to your chest. Your chest attaches to the upper part of the chest. Then it goes to your shoulders, your neck, to your head, and then your eyes, your hair, etc. So your head is where you want to attach this. So you drag the shark model onto the head. Now, when you move your model, it now moves with the head, and more importantly, oops. When you move the head, it moves with the head only. God, that looks freaky. Now you're like, oh, great. But I don't want the shark on my head forever. I want to have a toggle. I want to do what Kuri does and, have a button that turns this on and off. Right? No worries. I got you. So we're gonna go ahead and select the item. And you see this little check mark right here? This one enables and disables the item inside your hierarchy. So we're gonna disable this for now. And remember, if you disable a bone, you won't be able to see what happens. But, whoops. When you export it, the bones will no longer work. So make sure you keep it enabled. But if you select the mesh or the 3D model and you disable it, boom, it's gone. So this is what we did with the shark model. We disabled the mesh. Oops, did I change this to Yodi body? Okay. So you click on your main model, and what we're gonna do to be able to toggle this on and off inside BC Face and other programs is called a blend shape. It's kind of like my expressions, like, you know, these. If you click on your model, click on where it says VRM blend shape proxy, there should be a thing called blend shape right here. Click on it, and it'll take you to the folder. If you can't find it this way, under your assets, your avatar, and the folder that you imported, there should be a folder called your name and then blend shapes. Go ahead and open that. And then there's going to be a bunch of files. Click the one that says blend shape. This is, you can think of it as like the catalog of all the expressions that you can make. So while these are like, you know, angry, blinking left, right, fun, etc., the blend shape master file here controls everything. So if you look at over here on the inspector panel, because we selected this, we can see what's inside there. Let me make myself smaller. You see here, this is your neutral expression. This is your A, E, U, E, O sounds. Your blinking, your left blink, right blink, angry face, fun face, joy, sorrow, surprise, etc. Oh, by the way, if you ever want to edit these, simply highlight the expression you want, expand the face, and let's say you want your surprise to be a surprise motion, but you don't like the open mouth, right? You want to open your mouth manually. So you would... Ow! Thank you for the follow! Hi! So you wanna... For Vivroid anyways, change the value of surprise all to 0, as you see here. She's no longer surprised. And then you wanna adjust it individually. So if you go down here, there's a face, brow, surprise. There's an eye, surprise. You know, her eyes are widening. And in the mouth, you can leave empty. And now you have like a kind of like surprise eyes without the mouth being open. Or you want it the other way. You think, oh, the mouth isn't big enough. I'm gonna crank this all the way up. You know, to like some weird monstrosity of a shape. You can't. Oh, by the way, this is where, if you want to, you can add adjust your fangs. Yeah. stuff at me. Yeah, so if you want fangs for a particular expression, there you go. You want Gura teeth? Shark teeth. Anyways, so why do you need this? To toggle a prop. Well, remember how inside VC Face you have a lot of the expressions like this that you can toggle? We're gonna use the same system to toggle the props. Just like how you can assign, like say, your surprise face to a hotkey. We're gonna make a blend shape that would toggle the prop. So we're gonna name this one, say, shark prop. Save. It's now under your list of expressions you can do. Obviously, your face has nothing to do with the shark, so you won't be anything in there. But you do want the shark prop as a button. So when you go to VC Face, you see expression settings. You know, this is how you toggle, like you said, whatever. So after you add in the shark prop, it would show us the option here, and you can bind that into a hotkey. So this is the system we're gonna use to toggle props. Now, we need to assign the ability for that button to actually do something, right? To actually hide and show the shark. If you select here, the sample, scroll all the way down. We're gonna click Add Component. Right here, search for VSF. And then at the near top, you should have something called VSF Animations. Click it, and then it should show a new panel called VSF Animations. I'm in the way again. I'm just gonna shrink myself even more. I'm getting tinier and tinier by the second. So by adding this section here, you can now bind the blend shapes expressions that you made in the previous panel to a particular animation. So click the plus sign. You can now select from a list of expressions, in this case shark prop, and then it's gonna say animation down here as the second option. And what we're gonna do now is to create an animation that would show the shark prop. So whenever you activate the shark expression, it would trigger the animation. Okay, now let's go ahead onto the zone of creating animations. Very scary, but it's okay. Under the assets folder, we're gonna create a new folder called animations. Go ahead and enter it. We're gonna create a new file, right click, create, and then where's this right here? Animation controller. It doesn't matter what you name this, so you can leave it as a new animation controller. What this is think of it as the device that moves your avatar around. Think of it as your avatar as like a string puppet, right? You know the little cross thing that the puppeteer holds to move the strings? That little wooden thing is the animation controller. And the motions you're making the little puppet do, that's the animation file. Now, what we're gonna go do next is hit the play button up here. Now, when you hit the play button, it'll pause for a second. And it'll go in this little movie scene right here. Don't panic. You can't do anything here. You can't even move. Don't worry. Just go back to this tab right here called Scene. And you're back to where you can move around. When you're inside play mode, pretty much anything you do to your model inside this viewport, let's say, you know, let's rotate it. Rotate it this way. Rotate it that way. You can mess with it. You can mess with your avatar. You can check out how the physics. See, the physics now are active. You can test how the physics work. Etc. But then you go like, oh no, my model is now in messed up shape. I don't know how to put everything back together. It's fine. When you're play mode, the moment you uncheck this, exit play mode, it snaps back to exactly how it was before play mode. So it's a good way to see if the physics work, the range of motion for a particular limb, all that kind of stuff. So don't be afraid to play around inside play mode. It's play mode. Play around. Oh, hydrate. Thank you. Now that you're in play mode, you want to put the animation controller onto your avatar. So where it says the name of your avatar right here, left click and drag the animation controller directly onto it. Now your avatar is gonna enter this weird generic phase of like doing this weird pose. Don't panic, it's fine. This is fine. And also zooming in might make things disappear. Don't worry, this is normal. And then now you can start animating. If you click the animation tab here, if you don't have an animation tab, by the way, go to Window, Animation, and then Animation. And it should pop out a tab like this. Whoops. Darn it. An animation tab. Like this. And you can like drag it at the bottom here. So everything is still organized. Once that's done, go ahead and click on your avatar. Make sure it's highlighted. Jess! Thank you for the raid! Do a shout out. Yeah, thank you.
We should have gone for the...
How are you doing? What are you playing? Olden Sphere, did you beat the game? I hope you beat the game.
I'm gonna strangle you later.
What? Just because I didn't know about it?
I'm sorry, that was mean. I'm sorry.
What kind of degeneracy is happening here? You got the bad ending? Oh no.
I'm sorry, please.
Don't talk to me.
But hi.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're doing a tutorial right now. For Unity. Yeah. I hope you had a good stream though. No problem. Yeah. If you look at the VOD later, you will basically learn how to start editing. It's a bit slow though, but I hope it does help. Anyways, so now that we drag the animation controller onto here, we click our model, we go to animation tab, we can create an animation. So go ahead and click create. We're gonna name this one Show Shark Prop. And it's gonna pop out a timeline right here. This from scratch? Yes. From Vroid to importing it to Unity to editing toggling props, and etc. So we're gonna have a timeline right here. To start recording, click the record button. And now anything you do will be recorded in this timeline.
The sanctuary will go on without you.
Alright, take care. Bye-bye. Click on your model. Go back to your hips, your spine, chest, upper chest, neck, head, and then finally the shark. Oh, whoops! I messed up. Give me a second. I forgot one extra step. So, exit play mode. So where your head is, right click it, create empty, and it'll create a game object. Name this one shark object. I keep forgetting to do that. And then drag the shark object in there. And then disable the shark object. This is what you're gonna be doing. Alright, let's zoom back to where we were. Big oopsies already, sorry. So go back to this. Drag controller, select this animation tab, record. Okay, we're back to recording. Go back to hips, your chest, neck, head, and your shark object file. Now, while you're recording, enable it. It's now enabled, and as you see in the timeline, there's this little dot here. And if you expand this, it says shark object is active. So that means whenever this animation plays, your shark object will be activated on the first frame of this animation. If for some reason, say you wanted to like disappear on the 7th frame and then reappear back on like the 14th frame, disappear, appear. If you push play, you know, it will do everything that you recorded on those frames. Likewise, what that also means is, I'm gonna delete all these. If you want, you can animate the shark dropping down. So let's say on the first frame, the shark appears and is very high up. And then by the 30th frame, it's now chomping on your head. You know, so if you push play, this is how you animate stuff. So that's perfectly fine. So on the last frame, it sits on there. Go ahead and uncheck the recording button. And there, boom. This now sets this animation to activate the shark on the first frame, make it appear at the very top of your head, and by the 35th frame, it will chomp down onto your head. Now go back to your project tab, where you have all your stuff. Go to animations, and there should now be a little file called show shark prop animation. If you click on it, you see right here at the very top where it says loop time. For this one, you want to uncheck it. If you keep it checked, when it's activated, it will start from the first frame all the way to the last frame, and then it will go back to the first frame and repeat itself forever. If you uncheck it, it will start on the first frame and on the last frame and stay on the last frame until the animation is deactivated. So unless you want your shark to repeatedly drop down from the sky and chomp on your head, disable this. Some animations you do want it to be looped. Like for example, if you want the shark to rotate above your head and you animated that, you do want this one on. Now, let's go ahead and exit play mode. There, all the shark is disappeared. Your model pose goes back to normal. Click on your avatar. You scroll all the way down here. Now under where it says none animation clip, drag your animation clip that you just created of the shark onto there. So whenever you activate in VC face, the expression show shark prop somewhere in here with your hotkey, it will play the animation that you just made, shark prop, which will drop down from the sky and land on your head. The last option that you can check or uncheck is called IK disabled when active. What this means is if you check this, it will lock your body so that only this animation shows. This is great for dances. So for example, if I have my expression show the default Fortnite dance, it locks my body so that if I turn my head, if I move my arms around, it won't activate anything. It will only play the movement of the animation. Right? But you don't want that for everything. So if I activate my my kitty as expression, I don't want it to only show this and I'm like frozen in place. You know, I still want to be able to move around. So in this case, I would make sure it's unchecked. Oh, let me zoom back out. So check it if it is a move kuri in the way. So check the option if it is a dance or animation that you want to lock in and only display that. Uncheck it if it is something to toggle a prop. Put your glasses on, you know, put a hat on, take your jacket off, etc. Make sure it's unchecked. And right now we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot. So we're gonna click on sample. We're gonna VSF SDK export avatar bundle. Wait, game objects missing. Oh, whoops. There's a script on this. Why do I have a script on it? Sorry, the object I picked is kind of weird. Export. There we go. Now go ahead and save it to the folder. In this case, I'm going to save it to my tutorial folder. Tutorial sample.vsf avatar. Saving. Now, very important to note, once you save as a .vsf avatar, you cannot take that file and put it back into Unity. It's kind of like what happened when you save your Vroid file and transferred it into a VRM. You cannot take it back. So make sure to save your Unity project so you can make edits again, okay? Export complete. So now you have your VC face. I'm gonna go ahead and load in the avatar we just got. Okay. So now we have your sample here. Select. Let me show the avatar. Alright. This is your avatar. Ignore the weird eyes. I'm using tracking that doesn't match this avatar. But now, when you look at your expressions, somewhere in here is Shark Prop, the one that we asked for. So go ahead and bind it to a hotkey. Let's say a hotkey to, I don't know, down. To toggle. Oh, let's make this instant. Yeah. Okay. If I push down now, the shark came! And push down again to disable. I think if you put that, yeah. So this is how you toggle your prop. Right? Kinda cute. I'm gonna put back to my regular avatar. When you export this as a regular VRM, you can still export it. The downside is it won't have the animations you just did. So if you wanted to have your animation linked to your expression, you gotta export it as a VSF avatar format. But the upside of a VRM export, if you do it that way, is that you can use it in other programs and you can bring it back into Unity. So I would recommend if you're sending this to a friend to use on like their editor that they gotta change stuff and send it back to you, use the VRM format. And then finally, when you want to assign the finishing touches like the animations, the toggling, then you want to export as a VSF avatar file. Checklist. What else is next? What else can you do? Alright. Textures and assigning them. Let's see. Let's say you want to assign a different texture to something on your avatar. You go to your avatar, you go to import, you go to textures. So this is where all your texture is, right? But let's say for some reason you got this nice texture that you got from Booth, and it changes your jacket to something else. I'm gonna create one really quick. This is gonna be so bad. Boom, save as desktop, red PNG, a sample texture. Okay, boom, you got your texture, you dragged it onto here. You're like, great, this is amazing. How do I put this red texture or whatever new jacket texture you have onto this jacket? You go to your materials folder, and now you right click, create material. And you name this one a new jacket texture. So right now, when you look at it, it's empty. And it's using the standard shader, which is nice, but it's really like fake looking. If you want to match the rest of your regular avatar right now, you can switch it to VRM texture, which is MTune, the standard textures of pretty much everything VRM. There we go. Now, as you see, it has shading as a light color, and you can put like a rim lighting on it. You can set an outline if you want to. So like say you want a yellow outline. See? It has a yellow outline or a pink one instead. Pink outline. Oh god, this is gonna be so ugly. Up here versus texture. Sometimes it'll just be called color. Or whatever. You can select the empty spot. Click on the little circle dot. And you can choose the texture you want to assign to it. In this case, ours was the red PNG sample. Alternatively, if you go to the textures folder, this is a good quality of life thing I can tell you about. If you click on something, you get your inspector panel here, right? But if you ever want to drag something into the panel, and you click on that instead, it selects the other one. What you can do is select the thing you want to highlight. There's a lock button at the very top here. Click it. Now, whenever you click on anything else, it can select all you want, but whatever here will stay. Helpful, right? T-pose is poggers. You can also drag the texture directly into the cube here. So if you, for some god knows what reason, want to put your face on here, you can make that into a texture, into a material. Okay. I'm gonna unlock this. Now that you have your terrible looking texture, or a really good one, depending on what you want to do, click on the item that you want to change. In this case right here. And on the inspector panel is a list of all the textures they're using. In this case, we know that tops 0000701 tops.cloth is the jacket one. Drag it to where it is. Boom. Your texture is now the one that you just made. Congratulations. Oh god, it looks so bad. Yeah. Obviously you don't want it to be this, but it's just an example. I'm gonna Control Z to undo. Now, what this also means though is if you don't like something, you can always change the textures of it. So if I were to select this texture, I change it to say a cutout or transparent. I click on the color and it changed the opacity to 0. As you see, the texture disappeared because it's now invisible. If I click on this and I drag this now invisible texture, the jacket is gone. And you can apply this pretty much to everything that has a texture assigned to it separately. So let's say the bottom, which is the skirt. Let's put that back on the skirt. No more skirt. You know, with her darker skin, it almost looks like she's that Pokemon gym trainer. With the shorts. Anyways, Control Z. Control Z, undo all this. Another way you can edit the textures if using the VSF avatar format is to not just change the textures, but to change the shader itself. So if you don't recall, we went over this in the beginning. Textures is the flat file, like this, but the material is a shader applied onto the texture and how light reflects on it to display what you see. So by default, VRMs only support the VRM Mtoon shader. That's great and all, but if you ever want to have cool effects, like say this, transparency, lighting, glowing, well, advanced glowing, it kind of supports glowing, but if you want something like this, Mtoon is not it. Mtoon, definitely not it. So, you want to change that, right? So, if you go to say a website like Booth, ta-da! They let you download stuff like this for free. And same with say Poyomi Toon shader. Boom, another shader for free. Go ahead and download one of these. We're gonna use a tutorial on Poyomi Toon shader. Let me install it. I just downloaded from the website right there. It's gonna, like how we import the other stuff, go ahead and import it. Wait a few seconds. Wait, if a lot of seconds. Some of these shaders are really big. And also, I would say if you're doing any advanced shader editing, know that your avatar is gonna probably increase in size and probably require more computing. So if you have like a very low spec PC, you might not be able to handle like, you know, laser effects and all the kind of glowy shader shit. And VRM might be a better option until you upgrade. Hi Somersault, Hanyo. This is taking a while. Kiwi tutorial. Yeah. This tutorial is all over the place, but if you follow it from the beginning, it's not so bad. Oh god, this is taking forever to import. Cool uses too. I do use too much RAM. Though I have to say, compared to the previous Cyberpunk version, I use a lot less RAM. I learned how to optimize myself a little bit. I learned to cut the RAM usage back. Oh, this is taking so long. Normally, it doesn't take this long to import something, but probably because I'm streaming at the same time, it's taking a while. So I'm gonna go grab some water while this imports. Okay, be right back. clicking. We are Summon Tech. Upload to YouTube or somewhere? Yes. We're gonna upload this whole thing to YouTube. And the VOD will be here on the Twitch side until, you know, Twitch deletes it as well. Which is, I think, like 60 days or something like that. 30 days, 60 days. It's gonna be a long time. But we're also still gonna upload this to YouTube. Okay. Now that we imported the shader, we're gonna change how everything here is rendered. So we're gonna click on all these and highlight all of these textures. We're gonna switch it from Mtune to Poyomi, which is the one we just downloaded, 8.1. And let's say we want outline, so we're gonna do Poyomi Tune Outline. Boom. It's gonna look a little funky at first, but don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Wait a few seconds for it to convert everything into Poyomi. There we go. Now, it's gonna look funky. When you switch shaders, it's gonna look funky. Don't worry, it's fine. First thing you wanna do is, right now everything is opaque. For now, change it to cutout. There, almost fixed. And then under rendering, under cull, from back to off. Even more fixed. There. For the most part, this is gonna be exactly how it was before. Except now you get all these extra features. Ideally though, you wanna go back individually and change how every single one of these are rendered. But let's look at some common options that shaders have. It's okay. When I first did this, when I first learned Unity, I thought I broke it too. So let's say her jacket texture, right? You're gonna have a lot more options compared to back when you have VRM Tune, but it's okay. We're gonna go over most of the important stuff. Colors in alpha. Your texture, again, is the main texture file. If you go to color adjust, if you highlight it and check it, wait a second. You can now change the saturation or no saturation, the brightness. If you check the hue shift, it lets you change the hue of the texture. So what light color is bouncing off of the flat textures that you have. Very useful, especially for things that you just want to change the color a little bit of. Let's say instead of the default purpley one, you want to change it to a more greenish one, I guess. You can do that too. And if you want to change this during an animation, right click it, and then where it says here animate when locked, go ahead and click that one. This particular feature is more of a Poyomi exclusive, but do check if your shader has something like this. I would highly recommend the Poyomi shader just because there's a lot of tutorial on it and it's always updated. And if you click this button right here, lock in, optimize shader, it makes things very, very small. Keep the file size very small and optimize. Generally, you want to lock all of your textures. And I'll teach you how to do that with Poyomi when we finish editing the texture. The next thing that is important is the outlines. Right now, as you see, none of our textures have outlines to them. So not even this jacket here. But if you say enable outlines, there, now you have outlines. Right now the color's white, but we're gonna change this. Click on it, and we're gonna adjust it to like a dark blue, purple kind of color. And it says right here outline size. By default, 1 is pretty thick. Like, oh god, it's kind of thick. You're gonna change it to like 0.2 or something. So now you have the outline. Keep it kind of nice and cartoon. Have a nice contrast of all the bumps. But it's not so big that when you zoom out, it's still like showing up on the screen. Or alternatively, you don't want outline, just disable it. That's fine too. I have a mix of outline and non-outline. As you see on my avatar. I have outlines on the parts I want and no outlines on the ones I don't want. If my ears don't have outlines, the kind of little fur gets blended in together too much. So that's why I have outlines enabled on those. But on some objects, I don't have it. Yeah. This is beyond you. It's okay. The purpose of this tutorial is to just take what you can from it and play around. And if you pick up something useful, that's great. If you don't understand something, you can always go back to it later. And some shaders have special options. For example, dissolve. Again, wait for it to kind of like finish processing. You adding in that option. If you oh, you gotta put texture. You know what? Let's just ignore that one. Let's do something simple. Let's do glitter. That's pretty easy. There. If you put glitter, it can add a little artificial kind of glitter to it. You can change the glitter size. You can change the contrast, how bright it is. And if you right click on add animate, and when you make an animation for it, you can make it kind of like pulse like this so that it glitters. And we'll do this, we'll animate this after. And then finally, under rendering. Now, when you put a material onto a surface, there are ways you can make the program interpret that. So under culling, if you push front, it will cut off the front and you can only see the back. As you see, we can no longer see the textures from the front side, we can only see it from the back side. If we put cull to the back, we can only see textures from the front side, and we culled everything from the back. So it's like see-through. If you put none or off, the texture is applied on both the front and the back. So this is kind of important. If you have something that moves around and it kind of clips through when it folds on itself, you might actually want to have it so that it culls from the back side. In this case, jacket, you probably want it to be both front and back. But let's say your skin texture, face skin. You want the culling to be the back so that it shows only the front side. So if you make like this, like your face, squinting your face, your textures don't like fold onto each other and it pokes out from the other side. So that's something to keep in mind of. Another thing is, you remember how when you first changed the material from the VRM to the new one, Poyomi, and it put everything onto opaque by default? So this is what happens when you put opaque. This means there's no transparency whatsoever. When you make a mesh like this, your jacket mesh, most likely there's like filler, invisible polygon between a lot of the parts. And when you do that and you keep everything opaque, it will fill it with whatever the texture has. So in this case, if you click on texture, it's just black space. So this is why there's a lot of black space here. A way to solve that is to go to your material and make it so that it's a cutout. So anywhere where the texture, there is an actual invisible part, it will also cut out the invisible parts rendered onto the avatar. So if you ever have like this weird looking hair texture, that's like a... Whoops, that's not good. What's a good example? Like this thing? Yeah, this thing. Where it looks a little funky, like this. Don't worry. Just click on it. Click on rendering, and then click on cutout. Boom, it's fixed. Another one is your eyes. Instead of having it just cut out, you might also want it to be transparent, like so. And then you can set how much of the transparency it has by clicking on the color and then clicking on the alpha. As you see, 100% or 255 in this case is completely covered. If you slide this to the middle, the highlights will show a little bit, but it will still show what's behind it. So that's the transparent option right here. Not just cutting out the opaque parts, but also making it so that you have a transparency effect. Sometimes there's different rendering modes for certain things. So let's say the jacket again. We change the shader to Poyomi Tune, and then we go special effects. That's a good one. I don't know. Let's do emissions. So we can actually make this whole thing glow if we wanted to. So let's make the whole thing glow. So we're gonna use the same texture that has, and then we're gonna select the emission color. Let's make this glow red. this work? The hell? Wait a second. Texture. I messed this up. I may or may not mess this up. Oh, I guess glittering sound counts as a special effect. Yeah, let's just use that for now. I don't have the samples ready for other stuff. Wait, glitter. Let's say you want to animate this, right? We're gonna go do the same thing we did before. We're gonna go to sample. We're gonna go to blend shape. Select your blend shape. We're gonna call this one Sparkle. Now there's a sparkle blend shape. Go back to here. Scroll all the way down. We're gonna add another one here. Select the sparkle. Go to sample. Go to play mode. Go to your scene tab. Go to animations. Drag your controller in. And then create clip. Sparkling. Record. Okay. So we're gonna make this on the first frame. To the 50th frame. Actually, no, let's do the 30th frame. Shift to this. And then we're going to copy the first frame. Control C, Control V, paste it. So when you play it, it's like RGB. And then the second thing is the glitter. On the first one, we're going to have this number here. We're just gonna type it in again so it marks it here. Up to here, we're gonna make the glitter size kind of big. And then at the end, I'm gonna put back the original number. There we go. And then end the recording. Exit play mode. So using animations, we now created a kind of like RGB sparkling thing with just the textures. No movement, just the textures. Using the new shader. And when you select this animation, you do want it to loop because we just want it to go on forever. Now that we added something to do with the Poyomi shaders, we're gonna right click the avatar, go to thigh, materials, lock all. So this would basically take only the shader materials that are necessary and lock it. If you leave it unlocked, it will try to dump everything into the avatar you're exporting. Anyways, let's go ahead and export as VSF SDK into the sample 2, let's call it. Save. let's go ahead and add this back into VC face. Tutorial. Did I not save it in the right spot? I didn't save it in the right spot. Wait. Hold up. Export. Yeah, I saved in the wrong spot. Yeah, I always remember where you saved it. Tutorial folder. I have too much files. This is what happens when you've been editing for like years and then you keep everything in one freaking folder. Sample 2 avatar. Okay, exporting. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now when you do sparkles, ta-da! You now have a really, really weird sparkle effect that's animated on your avatar. Oh god, it's so ugly. But, you know, you can use this in many ways. You can apply the same theory to many things, right? Oh god, this reminds me of the RGB redeem I have. Uh-huh. But if you want, let me switch back to mine. That means if you want to change it so that your clothes, when you change outfit, instead of just being toggled, you want the textures to change from fading, invisible to opaque. You want it to start glowing in the middle of the transformation. You want to apply textures to it in the middle of the animation. You can blend them all together to create an effect like this. Uh-huh. Yeah. So that's a way to make everything work together. Uh-huh. Oh, thank you for the follow. So using the same theory. What other basic thing is there? I don't know. Does anyone have any questions? Or like confusion or clarification on how to do something or why am I doing something in a certain way? Yeah, if you watch till now, is there anything you want to know about? Or redo or elaborate. Just let me know. Oh, another thing that's really nice is the matte cap option in the textures. So we're gonna go ahead and select the body. Which is a skin one. Refreshing? Why is it doing that? Ah, there we go. It just took a few minutes. If you go to because it's locked. Right click, materials, unlock all. There should be a option under shading called matte cap. Yeah, that's it. If you click OK on the matte cap, oh god, it's taking so long to render. If you select a material cap, you can actually add how the shine is rendered. So here's some examples. These little circles with the little like material on it, it's how it's gonna apply the reflections. So if you select that, it's gonna have metallic. It's gonna shine all metallic. You can change the way it's applied to by selecting add to it and then putting the intensity higher or lower. You can multiply average. Wait, replace blend. There we go. There we go. So that you have like a kind of glossy to it while retaining the original texture. Let's change to this one. Oops. Darn it. To say this one. And now it has the little light effects. You can kind of see the texture for the matte cap being applied. See the red, the green, the yellow on one side, and then the blue. The detail where if you change it really does matter. So if you say you want your avatar to appear like they're in a dance club or something, and that's like your theme, you can add lights to reflect off the body like this. If for some reason, I don't know, they're like, I don't know, underwater in a vat of green goop, you can do this one too. If you want them to be gold, I don't know, then you can select it to be gold. If you want it to be kind of blue glowy, like say an alien ship is like shooting lights on them, you can add a blue glow to it. Very, very helpful for matte cap. Personally, I like applying just a little bit. So something like this one would be good, where it's just all black and just a little bit of highlight. And then you change it to be a little bit lower. So there. Now it looks like a room lighting. There's slight reflection, but it's not too overpowering. It adds it so that it has a little bit of a depth to it. As opposed to no matte cap, very flat. Nothing's going on, no reflection. The moment you pop those matte caps on there, boom. It pops the 3D-ness of it by a lot. And hi, Franz. Did you just get off work? Hmm. Ooh, latex. Yeah, let's say you want to change the texture of the jacket. It looks very too flat for you for some reason. So you're gonna change to top jacket. Alright, let's get rid of this glitter. Matte cap. And I believe matte cap is also a default option that's enabled in regular VRM Mtune, so you can add that even if you don't change the shader to this one. Alright, let's change this jacket to latex. Change the blending. There we go. Now it's a very, very shiny latex latex jacket. You can tune down the intensity if you don't want that much. But you see? It turned into like glossy jacket. So if you want that wet look, you know, here's how to do it. If you want the cutie treatment. What else can we go over? I think that's pretty much it. I guess I can do an example on what we can do with animations. A little bit more. Physics. Yeah. Let's play physics. Let's go and play mode. So, like I mentioned before, secondary is where all your physics are. You see right here the VRM Springbone script. So when you put a script of the VRM Springbone, you assign a bone to it. In this case, say the cat ears. Whatever the bone has and anything under it, it will start to have physics. So let's lock this panel. This right here. So all the cat ears should be wiggling because of the physics. So if we say move the neck. Yeah, you see kind of wiggle, right? Let's say you don't want that much like stiffness on the ears. Let's say you want to make them super floppy. You turn on the stiffness, and now when you move it, there we go. You see the wiggling is much more softer. Let's say you want the ears to drag a little bit more before returning to Hat's wiggles. You increase the drag force a little bit more. There. So now it's a very like cute, mellow wiggling action. You can also do it with gravity as well. Let's say you want the cat ears to droop down towards the -1 y-axis. Increase the gravity. Oh, sad cat ears. And it will still have the physics, but it would have the tendency to droop downwards. Likewise, if you want your boobas to swing everywhere, change your booba bones right here. so that the stiffness is way down, the drag force a little bit up, and you will swing your tatas everywhere. Here, let's give it a try. Let's decrease stiffness to like a little bit. And I'm gonna do spine. Oh god. And then let's increase the drag by a lot. Okay, let's increase drag to none. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with this. I personally don't like it that much to have like super exaggerated, so I just leave it to normal. Oh, by the way, since we're in play mode, anything you do right now when you exit play mode will be undone. But if you wanna say what we did with the cat ears, click on the little 3 dots on the tab that you wanna copy the values of, and say copy component. You exit play mode, and boom, everything snaps back. You click on the 3 dots again, paste component values, boom, and now the value you had in play mode is saved. So this is a good way for you to save what you tested in play mode and you want to keep. Alright, so another application of using expressions and animations together. So let's say you want to do what I have here. The ears automatically twitch. Right? This is an animation that I do, and it will basically repeat itself forever, idly. Alternatively, if you want, you can also make them be controllable with a hotkey, like this. Either way, it's up to you. But we're gonna teach you how to do that right now. If you want cute ear wiggles, this is the part you want to follow. Okay. So once again, go to sample, go to your blend shape, master blend shape file, create blend shape. We're gonna name this one ear wiggles. Now you have the ear wiggle blend shape clip. Go back to here, click play. Go to your scene tab, go to your animation folder, drag your controller onto your avatar, go to animation tab, select right here, create new clip, wiggle animation, dot animation. Oh god, why is the shark still there? Let me get rid of the shark first. So we can see what the hell we're doing. Animation. Wiggle animation. There we go. Now record. Okay. I'm gonna go to the front. We're going to animate this by turning the cat ear bones. So first one, position is all zeros, right? If you start moving, it'll start the thing, but we're gonna put all these back to 0. We're gonna mark them as 1 and then mark them back as 0 so that it has a stop point on the position. We're gonna move this a little bit here to the right, about like say 20 frames in. Oh, whoops. I did oopsies. Ignore that, I just messed up really quick. Record. Okay. Oh, it was this rotation, sorry. So put those back at 0. Move this here. And then, so from 0 to 20, we're gonna move it down and in a little bit. And we're gonna go back to the first one. We're gonna do Control C, Control V, Control V. As you see here, when it hits this, it's gonna kind of flick a little bit and go back up. We're gonna do the same thing for the other ear, followed a little bit behind it. So we're gonna go to the right ear. And put this back to 0. We just want those properties in the beginning. And then over here, start moving it a little bit. Copy the first frame, paste the second. Now, that's the animation of the ears flicking. Push play. Huh. Very simplistic. We can copy the whole thing. Paste it. That's the whole animation. We can copy the first frame, make it so when you zoom out, there's a bit of a pause. And just wiggle once. Zoom out, another pause, wiggle twice, another pause. There we go. This is just a very lazy version of it. You can obviously make the animations for years to how you like and how often you like them. But that's the whole animation, and it will start looping like this forever. So exit this. Okay, animation. Make sure it is looped. Go to samples. Add a new animation. We're gonna use the ear wiggles blend shape and the ear wiggle animation that we just made. Cool. We're gonna lock our textures again. And then we're gonna export. Sample 3. Oops. I messed something up again. Oh, oops. I didn't fix something for the textures. Whenever you fail in the export, you can also look at console to see what the hell you messed up on. Uh-huh. What was I doing? Oh yeah, your math caps. We're just gonna change all the shaders back for now. Materials. There we go. We're gonna change it back to M-Tune. Just here for ear wiggles, damn it. Why? Oh, I'm in play mode. I'm stupid. Okay. Exit play mode. Alright, cool. It's gonna wait a little bit. It's gonna export. Da, 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 da. Okay. Now we go to VC face. We're going to do the one we just did. Tutorial. Sample 3. And then ear wiggles when I set it to down. So now when we push the down, hello? Oh, right. But when I exited play mode, it undid it. Give me a second. I got this. I got this. I swear I know what I know what I'm doing. Look at animation. I know what I'm doing. Export. Maybe this tutorial went on for too long. I'm getting tired. Avatar. Sample 4. Okay. Now when you push it down. Why isn't this working? Any commission work for 3D models? Yeah, I can do commissions. Uh-huh. Depends on what you want to do. I messed up. I keep messing up. Okay, I'm trying to rush. I should not rush anything. What am I doing wrong? Let's go in play mode and check out what we did wrong here. Animation. missing? It might have been when I backed out in the middle of it. Let's re-record it. That's probably what we did wrong. Let's go back and re-record it. Let's just do both years at once, just to save time. When in doubt, just re-record everything. Alright, not the best animation, but we're low on time, so we're just gonna do that. Is it still working? Cool. We're gonna exit play mode. We're gonna try to export this one more time. We're gonna name this E-Wiggle VSF Avatar. Oh, it also could be we'd never waited for this to finish properly. Always wait for the export to finish properly first. Let's remove all the old ones that we did so you don't get it mixed up. Wiggle.fsf avatar. There we go. Okay, it's the ugly animation, but at least we know it works now. Yeah, so now when you push the down arrow, it will loop the animation where it wiggles. Go back to my own avatar. And if you want to have an example of what it looks like when you take your time to animate it, you know, this is what my own version is like. Gotta change my clothes again. Wiggling. If you want to make it so you hold the ears like this, instead of making the animation loop, you can just make it the first frame is up, the last frame is down, and then in the options, where is it? Yeah, in the options, you set the hotkey to say your arrow key. Instead of saying toggle, which would cause this to happen, you push it once, it stays down. You push it again, it goes up. You push hold. So now when I push the arrow, it'll stay down. Like so. Yeah. I can't think of anything else to go over right now without making it too complicated. That last earwiggle one was probably too complicated for this tutorial, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, any questions? No? And this isn't going to be part of the tutorial, but if you do want to add anything in terms of background, you can make an animation to toggle a room and make a blend shape that says room, link them together, and then you can have a room. Same principle. This is technically an animation that never stops when I play it. So this would be toggling a game object inside my avatar called room. And then you would be able to create a room. If you expand on that and you say, while animation is active, you create another animation that says you moved your stuff inside the room around. You can create a stage that moves. Very, very helpful. Likewise, you can have multi-stage props. So for example, if you make an animation that shows a prop, like your gun, and then you have another animation that already has the gun out, but it explodes a little projectile when you press it, then this would happen. And if you take away the gun and you push the shooting, nothing happens because the prop isn't active. So you can layer into different expression animations together like that. You know, saber, lightsaber. Deactivate lightsaber, put the saber away. I think that's all I can really elaborate on the power of using your blend shape animations. Remember, just click on your avatar, go all the way down, add component, VSF avatar. I'm sorry, VSF animations. Down here. Right over here. Link your expressions to an animation, and you can do magical things, including flossing on your audience, whether they like it or not. I'm tired. Right, this is the end of the tutorial. What are we playing today? Streamwise? We are playing... Oh! Honkai Star Rails. Nice. Nice, relaxing game. Yeah. I will still be open for questions afterwards, but I would say from the beginning of the tutorial until roughly we start messing with the animations, that's like the basic parts, and I would highly recommend you to kind of like just play with that point on over and over until you kind of get what each one does. Don't worry about the prop toggling in the animations. Just work on moving your avatar into the project, swapping textures around, messing with your expressions. You know, if you go to blend shapes folder, click on the blend shapes and edit your blend shapes so that, let's say, you're angry. You're angry. It's like super angry or something. Like this. Let's put some shark teeth on that one too. Yeah. Look how angry that is. Maybe too angry. Maybe just this. Yeah. There. Edit your expressions. If there's one thing that would set your avatar apart, is your expressions. If you leave everything on default, you know, your face will look exactly like the billion of other people who use Vroid. But if you customize it just a little bit, it adds your personality on what you feel like is the best expression for that emotion, and it will set you apart. Just even just little changes like that will set you apart from everyone else, and it makes your avatar you in a sense. Let's end the tutorial here. I'll be back in about 10 minutes, and we'll play some Honkai. Just some relaxing Honkai. Yeah. Thank you for watching. This sort of semi-unorganized tutorial, but I hope that until I started messing up, it was helpful in starting the project, because I know a lot of people who want to edit, but they don't even know where the starting point is. And the beginning of the video to about midway is where you would even start. Getting your files exported and imported in. That's the part that people don't really get to hear that often. Okay. Let's call it a day here for tutorial. I'll be back in like 10 minutes, okay?